Jeff would be here today, except that he's trying to finish up corn harvest. So, yeah. I would like to echo the welcome, and I'd like to welcome you, my curious friends. And if you don't know what you're curious about, I would highly suggest that you figure that out before tonight's dinner, right? These are two of the most important days in PFI's year, I think. There's so much that has changed in agriculture since PFI was started, but one of the things that has not changed is the emphasis on on-farm research. And the fact that it's farmer-driven and that you are all here together not just to do the research on your farm, but to figure out what are the questions that you're going to try to answer, I think is one of the big selling points of PFI when we first became members, how many years ago, back in the 80s, and still remains that today. We must not be the only ones that think about that, because we learned in our board meeting this morning that we have over 4,100 PFI members now.
So we've been growing. I think the idea that the research that PFI does is on-farm, it's driven by farmers, it's based on good science. We have Stefan and his staff that help make sure that we get some good designs put together. But it's up to us to define questions here today and tomorrow. What are the questions that we're going to answer? I took a leadership class, gosh, it's been 20 years ago now, but one of the things that has always stuck with me that the workshop leader taught us was what you feed grows. Now that's a pretty good agricultural metaphor. What you feed grows.
So what are we going to feed? What are the questions we're going to ask? How are we going to define that? And what are we going to feed them with? I think how we come up with good science to answer those questions is really, really an important thing. And I think some of the reasons that it's really important right now is that as university research budgets are being replaced more and more by some of the corporate interests and commercial funding, they're not maybe researching some of the same things that we want to find the answers to. So for us to come up with the questions that are important to us is one really important piece of that. I think another thing that it does is it helps all of us become better consumers of information and of scientific research, because we learn what it means to be randomized and replicated. We understand the difference between good information and bad information. And in this information age, that's a really critical skill to be able to have. So participating in research at this level, I think, really helps us to define that. And putting farmers in the driver's seat, I think, is a third reason that that's really important for PFI to continue to do the on-farm research that really has been a defining characteristic of this organization from the very beginning. Jeff and I were honored to become one of the very first class of master researchers when those were named back in 2013. We've got 2 more people to add to that list again tonight. And again, something that I think PFI can be very, very proud of is having that long tradition of on-farm research. And it's in your hands. So today and tomorrow, it's up to you to come up with the questions, to figure out how you're going to go about answering those, and to put some designs together that can be rigorous and good science and stand the test of people throwing rocks at it, if you want to look at it that way. But I think another one of the defining characteristics is the willingness of PFI to share that information with so many other people. So I challenge you to come up with good questions. I challenge you to not just pick the easy ones. I know one of the things that's different this year is looking not just at livestock and horticulture and row crops, but some of the integration of those kinds of things in some of the systems. That makes Stefan's job a whole lot harder, but I think it will make our research a whole lot more important, and those are some of the kinds of questions that we need to be asking. So thank you for your commitment. Thank you for bringing your best ideas, and have a great couple of days trying to figure out how we're going to take the next steps in all of this process.